Exploring the legendary Titanic and its haunting remains is an adventure that fascinates many. The Titanic, which sank in the early morning hours of April 15, 1912, lies on the seabed of the North Atlantic Ocean, about 600 kilometers southeast of Newfoundland, Canada. The Titan submersible allows brave explorers to descend to the depths of the ocean to experience this iconic shipwreck up close. Under the leadership of 61-year-old Richard Stockton Rush, a charismatic pilot and the founder and CEO of Oceangate Expeditions, this daring company now offers the opportunity to bring history to life through Titanic expeditions. On this expedition, you will explore the mysterious depths of the ocean and take an adventurous journey to the heart of the Titanic. But unfortunately, this expedition did not go as planned. On June 18, 2023, 5 enthusiastic individuals boarded the Titan submersible under the leadership of Richard Stockton Rush III. Richard was born on March 31, 1962, in San Francisco, California. He was born into a wealthy family and was the youngest of 5 children. Richard had a diverse academic background. He earned a bachelor's degree from Princeton University and later a Master of Business Administration from the University of California, Berkeley. Later in life, he became a successful American businessman and a prominent figure in the field of deep-sea exploration. With his background in the space industry and a strong interest in the unknown depths of the ocean, Richard decided to found OceanGate in 2009. He also served as the chief executive officer of OceanGate, a company specializing in deep-sea expeditions and underwater technology. In his role as CEO and founder, Richard played a crucial role within OceanGate, where he was responsible for financial and technical aspects. He was also involved with the OceanGate Foundation, a nonprofit organization dedicated to marine science, history, and archaeology through technology. Thanks to the Titan submersible serving as OceanGate's flagship, groundbreaking expeditions became possible. Richard and his team were determined to push the boundaries of human exploration and make new discoveries in the mysterious realm of the deep sea. It wasn't until 2021 that the company began offering adventurous clients the opportunity to participate in Titanic expeditions. Only a limited number of people have been able to view the wreckage of the Titanic. This is because few people have the necessary resources, financial resources, access to experts, and the willingness to accept the significant safety risk. However, OceanGate Expeditions offered the opportunity to go on an 8-day mission where customers could explore the Titanic at a depth of more than 13,000 feet below the ocean's surface. In doing so, they used a 5-person submersible made of carbon fiber and titanium. This unique experience carried a price tag of $250,000 per person. When asked about the safety of the Titan submersible last year, Stockton Rush, the CEO of OceanGate, explained to CBS's Pogue that the risk was simply inherent in the adventure. "You know, there's a limit. At some point, safety just is pure waste. I mean, if you just want to be safe, don't get out of bed, don't get in your car, don't do anything. At some point, you're going to take some risk, and it really is a risk-reward question," he said. In addition to Richard, Hamish Harding was also aboard the Titan. This British businessman, adventurer, and pilot received recognition for his remarkable achievements in various fields. Hamish Harding was born on June 24, 1964, in Hammersmith, London, England. As a student, he left Cambridge with a degree in natural sciences and chemical engineering. After college, he led a life of daring adventures and groundbreaking achievements. Hamish, a well-known personality in the aviation industry, founded the private equity investment group called Action Group. He also held the position of chairman at Action Aviation, an international aircraft brokerage with its headquarters located in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. His contributions to the field earned him a reputation as an aviation magnate. In addition, he was a seasoned pilot who had the privilege of participating in the record-breaking flight mission One More Orbit. Additionally, he was a skydiver and was inducted into the Living Legends of Aviation in 2022. He also worked with White Desert, a company specializing in VIP tourism to Antarctica, to launch the first-ever regular business jet service to Antarctica. Hamish's passion for exploration extended beyond the skies. He was a member of the Explorers Club, an exclusive organization that brings together adventurous individuals driven by a shared curiosity to discover the unknown. He also undertook numerous expeditions that confirmed his status as a brave explorer. One of these notable achievements was his multiple visits to the South Pole, showing his determination to overcome extreme environments. In 2016, he accompanied Buzz Aldrin, who at age 86 became the oldest person to reach the South Pole. In 2019, Hamish Harding was awarded for completing the fastest circumnavigation of Earth via both poles. Along with a crew of 8 astronauts and aviators, he led this mission in a Qatar Executive Gulfstream G650ER ultra-long-range business jet. This mission took place to mark the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 moon landing by Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. Harding and his team completed the round trip in a whopping 46 hours, 40 minutes, and 22 seconds. In 2021, Harding, together with Victor Vescovo, achieved several significant milestones in deep-sea exploration. They dived in a 2-person submersible to the deepest point of the Mariana Trench, the Challenger Deep, which is approximately 36,000 feet deep. During this 13-hour underwater mission, they established 2 records. Firstly, they spent the longest duration ever at full ocean depth, namely 4 hours and 15 minutes. Secondly, they covered the greatest distance at full ocean depth, namely 4.6 kilometers. These achievements were remarkable and contributed to the ongoing exploration of the deep sea. His drive for exploration led him to space, where he experienced microgravity at the edge of our atmosphere. In 2022, Hamish traveled to space with Jeff Bezos' company Blue Origin. These remarkable achievements earned him several Guinness World Records and placed him in the ranks of legendary adventurers. On June 17, 2023, he proudly announced on Facebook that he had joined Oceangate Expeditions, which set out to find the Titanic. "I am proud to finally announce that I joined Oceangate Expeditions for their RMS Titanic mission as a mission specialist on the sub going down to the Titanic. Due to the worst winter in Newfoundland in 40 years, this mission is likely to be the first and only manned mission to the Titanic in 2023. A weather window has just opened up, and we are going to attempt a dive tomorrow. We started steaming from St. John's, Newfoundland, Canada yesterday and are planning to start dive operations around 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. Until then, we have a lot of preparations and briefings to do. The team on the sub has a couple of legendary explorers, some of which have done over 30 dives to the RMS Titanic since the 1980s, including P.H. Nargeolet. More expedition updates to follow if the weather holds," he wrote. The third occupant was 77-year-old Paul-Henri Nargeolet. He was a French commander of the French Navy, deep-sea explorer, and Titanic expert. He was known as Mr. Titanic due to his extensive knowledge of the Titanic and his numerous dives to the wreck. Paul was born on March 2, 1946, in Chamonix-Mont-Blanc, Haute-Savoie, France. He had a remarkable career in deep-sea research and was highly experienced in piloting submarines. Paul served as the Director of Underwater Research at Royal Marine Ship Titanic Incorporated, a company that held the salvage rights to the Titanic. In addition, he was part of a team that located the missing Air France Flight 447 in the Atlantic Ocean. Paul dedicated a significant part of his life to studying and investigating the Titanic. He made a total of 37 successful trips to the site of the wreck, becoming familiar with the remnants of the ship and its surroundings. His expertise and contributions contributed to humanity's understanding of the unknown world of the deep sea. Paul even brought up some of the first artifacts recovered after the discovery of the wreck in 1985. The last 2 occupants were 48-year-old Shahzada Dawood and his 19-year-old son Suleiman Dawood. Shahzada was a prominent businessman, investor, and philanthropist. He was born on February 12, 1975, in Rawalpindi, Pakistan. Shahzada came from one of the wealthiest families in Pakistan. In addition to his Pakistani nationality, he was also a citizen of the United Kingdom and Malta. Shahzada was well educated, having obtained a Bachelor of Laws from Buckingham University and a Master of Science from Philadelphia University. Throughout his career, he held influential positions in various organizations. The 5 passengers aboard the Titan shared a strong interest in deep-sea exploration and had impressive accomplishments in aviation, spaceflight, and maritime exploration. In addition, they had the financial means to pursue these passions. Each passenger had paid $250,000 to start this indescribable adventure. The first discovery of the Titanic wreck occurred on September 1, 1985, through a joint French-American expedition led by Dr. Robert D. Ballard and Dr. Jean-Louis Michel. Using an experimental unmanned submersible called the Argo, developed by the U.S. Navy, they located the wreck of the Royal Marine ship Titanic approximately 400 miles east of Newfoundland in the North Atlantic Ocean, at a depth of about 13,000 feet below the surface. The wreck consists of 2 major pieces. The bow is still recognizable despite the damage it sustained on the seabed, while the stern was completely destroyed. The debris field around the wreck contains hundreds of thousands of objects that fell from the ship as it sank. During the expedition, photographs of the sunken liner were sent to the research vessel, providing the first visual evidence of the wreck. The first full-scale digital scan of the Titanic was made using deep-sea maps, providing a unique 3D image of the entire ship as if the water had been sucked out. The purpose of this scan was to shed new light on what happened to the liner. In addition, she hoped to answer fundamental questions that still exist about the sinking of the ship. On Sunday, June 18, 2023, the time had finally come. The 5 people went on an adventure with the Titan submersible to see the wreck of the Titanic. According to a post on Hamish's Facebook page, the original plan was to begin the descent around 4 a.m., but according to the U.S. Coast Guard, the descent started 4 hours later than planned. At 8 a.m., they began their 2-hour descent to the wreck of the Titanic at a depth of nearly 4,000 meters. At 9:45 a.m., about 1 hour and 45 minutes after beginning its descent, the submersible and surface ship lost communication with each other. According to the U.S. Coast Guard, the Titan was supposed to resurface around 3 p.m., but this did not happen. At 5:40 p.m., the Coast Guard received a report of a trailing 21-foot submarine from the Canadian research vessel Polar Prince, with 5 people on board. They were also on their way to view the wreck of the Titanic. On Monday, June 19, 2023, American and Canadian ships and aircraft searched the area, with some ships deploying sonar buoys capable of measuring up to a depth of 3,962 meters. According to Vice Admiral John Mauger of the U.S. Coast Guard, it was a remote area and a challenge to conduct a search operation. So, this is an incredibly complex site there. You have to remember that it's the wreck site of the Titanic, so there is a lot of metal and different objects that are in the water around this site. That's why it's so important that we've engaged experts from the Navy that understand the science behind noise, that can classify or give us better information about what the source of that noise may be. In the meantime, it's something, it's a target, it's a focus for us to look at, he said. On Tuesday, June 20, 2023 at 10 a.m., France announced it would assist in the search by deploying the ship Atalante, equipped with a deep-sea submarine. The ship was scheduled to arrive late Wednesday. Sounds were detected throughout the day by Canadian Lockheed P-3 Orion aircraft, which are equipped with equipment to detect submarines. According to several news outlets, periodic popping sounds were observed at 30-minute intervals. On Wednesday, June 21, 2023, a joint command was established by the U.S. Coast Guard, U.S. Navy, Canadian Coast Guard, and OceanGate Expeditions to lead the search operation. At 2 a.m. in the morning, the U.S. Coast Guard confirmed that Canadian P-3 aircraft had detected underwater sounds. The Coast Guard reported that remotely operated vehicles were being dispatched to the area of the sounds. These ROVs were deployed to scout the area in question, collect visual data, and possibly find clues that could help understand the cause or find the origin of the sounds. In addition, the ROVs could be equipped with various sensors and instruments to collect specific data, such as temperature, pressure, chemical composition, and so on. The collected data was sent to experts from the U.S. Navy for further analysis and evaluation. These experts thoroughly examined the data to gain a deeper understanding of the situation and determine the next steps in the search and rescue operation. We need to have hope, but I can't tell you what the noises are. What I can tell you is we're searching where the noises are, and that's all we can do at this point, said Jamie Frederick, a captain in the U.S. Coast Guard. At 4:09 a.m., Explorers Club President Richard Garriott shared a message on Twitter about the ongoing investigation into the Titan submersible. We are so grateful for the U.S. Coast Guard and other international teams and commercial operators doing everything they can to help find the Titanic expedition submersible, he said. At 1 p.m. that afternoon, more underwater sounds were detected, but the sounds were not convincing enough. Therefore, the search area was increased to 2 times the size of Connecticut, according to the U.S. Coast Guard. More ships arrived late that Wednesday, including a French research vessel equipped with a deep-sea submersible. These ships would contribute to the complex response effort that would spread across the vast area. A massive international search and rescue operation had been underway since Sunday night, involving U.S. military aircraft and ships, the Royal Navy, and private companies. Aerial searches and using remotely operated vehicles have yielded negative results, Frederick said. This is a search and rescue mission 100%, Frederick said. We are smack dab in the middle of search and rescue, and we'll continue to put every available asset that we have in an effort to find the Titan and crew members. The oxygen, that's just one piece of data, but that's not the only thing that's important. Sometimes you're in a position where you have to make a tough decision, but we're not there yet. If we continue to search, potentially we could be at that point. That's a discussion that we have to have with the families long before I'm going to discuss that in public. Frederick would not comment on the crew's chances of survival or discuss a possible endpoint of the operation. Thursday, June 22, 2023 was a crucial day. Around 6 a.m., the estimated time when the air supply in the submersible was expected to run out was approaching. Their estimate was based on a U.S. Coast Guard estimate. The Titan had about 96 hours of air supply remaining from the time it was shut down. Around 8 a.m., 2 remotely operated vehicles were deployed as part of the search operation. Experts indicated that it was still uncertain whether the submersible was on the surface or on the seafloor. They warned that weeks of intensive search may be needed to determine its exact location. At around 11 a.m., a Canadian naval ship arrived at the location. On board was a medical team specialized in diving medicine. At 11:48 a.m., the U.S. Coast Guard reported the discovery of a debris field in the search area by a remotely operated vehicle near the wreckage of the Titanic. At 4 p.m., the U.S. Coast Guard declared that the 5 crew members aboard the Titan had most likely passed away instantly from a catastrophic implosion. Vice Admiral John Mauger, commander of the 1st Coast Guard District, reported that a remote-controlled vehicle had detected the Titan's tail cone and that the debris corresponded to a catastrophic loss of the pressure chamber. Officials later reported that a large debris field containing 5 large parts of the ship was observed by a remote-controlled vehicle searching the seafloor near the Titanic's wreck, 400 miles south of St. John's, Newfoundland. The debris is consistent with a catastrophic implosion of the pressure chamber, Rear Admiral John Mauger told reporters. Upon this determination, we immediately notified the families. On behalf of the United States Coast Guard and the entire Unified Command, I offer my deepest condolences to the family. I can only imagine what this has been like for them, and I hope that this discovery provides some solace during this difficult time, he said. It is a difficult day for all of us, John somberly concluded at the press conference, and it's especially difficult for the families. Oceangate, the company in charge of the expedition, confirmed that the 5 passengers had perished. We at the Oceangate Foundation are devastated by the tragic news about our friends and colleagues. We are keeping them and their loved ones in our thoughts and in our hearts. We wish to acknowledge the efforts of all of the individuals and organizations involved in the valiant search for Titan and its crew, and appreciate the expressions of sympathy from people around the world for this terrible loss. The intense water pressure at extreme depths led to the collapse of the Titan's hull, causing everyone on board to lose their lives instantly. Maritime researchers had warned that implosion was the worst possible outcome, given the extreme conditions the submersible faced. The tragic news of the Titan submersible incident deeply affected the maritime community and the entire world. At 9:46 p.m., the Explorers Club shared their deepest condolences via a post on Twitter. Our hearts are broken. I am sorry to have to share this tragic news. We are heartbroken for the families, friends, and colleagues of those who were lost. Their memories will be a blessing and will continue to inspire us in the name of science and exploration. According to Asma Dawood, the older sister of Pakistani businessman Shahzada Dawood, her nephew was reluctant to participate in the Titan expedition. She shared that he was somewhat hesitant aboard because of the potential risks associated with the expedition. He wasn't very up for it and felt terrified about the trip to explore the wreckage of the Titanic, she said. Despite his hesitation, the 19-year-old finally decided to board OceanGate's 22-foot submersible. The reason for his decision was the upcoming Father's Day weekend, as he was eager to surprise his father. After all, his father had a great passion for Titanic's history, and the young man wanted to please him. Asma confirmed that this emotional motivation was the deciding factor for his participation in the expedition. I am thinking of Suleiman, who is 19 in there, just perhaps gasping for breath. It's been crippling, to be honest, Asma said during a phone interview from their residence in Amsterdam, along with her husband, Jonathan. She was devastated when OceanGate confirmed Thursday that all 5 passengers on board were presumed dead. The past few days have been agony for Asma. She clung to television news about the Titan search, desperate for updates on her brother and nephew. I feel like I've been caught in a really bad film, with a countdown, but you don't know what you're counting down to, she said. I personally found it kind of difficult to breathe, thinking of them. Shahzada's parents thanked the search teams for their tireless efforts. The immense love and support we receive continues to help us endure this unimaginable loss, Hussein and Kulsum Dawood said. Sadly, both Shahzada Dawood and his son Suleiman Dawood lost their lives. Hamish Harding's family was also deeply shocked. Hamish was married to Linda Harding and they had 2 sons, Rory and Giles. In addition, Linda had a daughter Lauren and a son Brian from a previous relationship. Hamish's family and his aircraft company, Action Aviation, issued a statement expressing their deep sorrow, describing him as a living legend who passed away doing what he loved. They also emphasized his uniqueness and the void he left in their lives. To his team at Action Aviation, he was a guide, an inspiration, a support, and a living legend. His family described him as a unique individual, a loving husband, and a devoted father whom they adored. He was a passionate explorer, whatever the terrain, who lived his life for his family, his business, and for the next adventure, they said. What he achieved in his lifetime was truly remarkable, and if we can take any small consolation from this tragedy, it's that we lost him doing what he loved, they said. Craig Glenday, the editor-in-chief of Guinness World Records, shared that the news of Harding's fate was heartbreaking to hear. Hamish had the kind of pioneering spirit that we here at Guinness World Records are privileged to recognize and celebrate in the pages of our book. It sounds like a cliche to say it, but he lived life to the full and was well aware of the risks involved at the extreme edge of adventuring, he said. Sitting next to Hamish was Paul-Henri Narjolet, a fellow passenger on the Titan submersible. Both were respected French Titanic experts and members of the Explorers Club. Our hearts are broken, Club President Richard Garriott de Caillou wrote soon after the members' deaths were confirmed. Paul's family was also deeply shocked. Paul was known as Mr. Titanic for his extensive knowledge and expertise about the Titanic shipwreck. He was recognized for his involvement in the exploration and study of the wreck of the RMS Titanic. He made numerous successful dives to the wreck, with a total of 37 visits. Our hearts are broken over the loss of our extraordinary father and husband. He was a man who will be remembered as one of the greatest deep-sea explorers in modern history. When you think of the Titanic and all we know about the ship today, you will think of Paul-Henri Narjolet and his legendary work. But what we will remember him most for is his big heart, his incredible sense of humor, and how much he loved his family. We will miss him today and every day for the rest of our lives. The family of Richard Stockton Rush, the CEO of OceanGate, was also deeply shocked. He had a special family connection to the Titanic. Richard was married to Wendy Rush, the great-great-granddaughter of Isidore and Ida Strauss. These famous historical figures were known for their courageous decision to stay aboard the sinking ship together, giving others the chance to escape. The story of Isidore and Ida Strauss served as the inspiration for a heartbreaking scene in James Cameron's film, in which an elderly couple embrace themselves on their bed as water rushes into their room. This scene symbolized the unconditional love and sacrifice shown by the Strauss couple during the tragic events of the Titanic disaster. Richard's connection to the Titanic through his marriage to Wendy Rush added a personal dimension to the Titanic story and highlighted the lasting impact of this historic event. The Strauss Historical Society tweeted the following message: "Our thoughts are with the loved ones and those aboard the lost submersible. We hold continued hope that the crew members will be rescued." Following this devastating incident, the Transportation Safety Board of Canada (TSB) launched an investigation into the loss of the Titan submersible. A team of investigators traveled to St. John's, Newfoundland to gather information, conduct interviews, and assess the incident. As the investigating authority of the flag state of the support ship involved, the TSB will lead a security investigation to determine the circumstances surrounding the operation. In addition to the TSB, several international agencies, including the U.S. Coast Guard, the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board, the French Maritime Casualties Investigation Board, and the UK's Marine Accident Investigation Branch, worked closely on the investigation. On Sunday, June 25, 2023, the Coast Guard convened a Marine Board of Investigation to examine the loss of the Titan submersible and the 5 individuals on board. An MBI represents the highest level of investigation within the Coast Guard. When the investigation is complete, the board issues a report to the Commandant containing the gathered evidence, the facts established, conclusions, and recommendations. All their efforts were focused on determining the causes and factors that contributed to the Titan submersible implosion. In the coming days, weeks, months, and possibly even years, it will take considerable time to complete the salvage operations and investigations. These complex processes require careful planning, coordination, and expertise to fully understand the situation, determine the cause of the incident, and take possible measures to prevent a recurrence. Court records show that OceanGate has suffered from several mechanical problems and bad weather conditions in recent years, causing trips to be canceled or postponed. After the canceled expeditions, several lawsuits were filed by a number of wealthy customers who sought to recover the cost of the trips. They claim that in reality the trips were not as they were offered. The suit alleges that the company had painted an overly optimistic picture about the possibility of reaching the wreck of the Titanic. In a civil lawsuit filed in 2021, the London-based travel company Henry Cookson Adventures Limited accused OceanGate of not having a seaworthy ship when they entered into an agreement in 2016 to transport up to 9 passengers to Titanic in 2018. The tour company sought to recover approximately $850,000 it had paid to OceanGate. OceanGate did not respond to the allegations in court and could not be reached for comment. The 2018 notice on OceanGate's website stated that delays due to weather and lightning had hindered the company from completing a series of test dives. However, the lawsuit against Henry Cookson Adventures called this description into question. The claim of a lightning strike has not been verified, and the true reason may be because the submersible vessel was unable to be certified at the time for safe operations, the plaintiff alleged. In 2022, OceanGate experienced another remarkable cancellation when they took David Pogue, a News Channel correspondent, for a dive in their submersible. Unfortunately, the trip had to be aborted due to equipment failure after descending only 37 feet. On the next dive, the vessel lost contact with the ship and failed to locate the wreck. "We were lost for 2.5 hours, he said. Recently, a Florida couple in 2023 claimed in a lawsuit that they could not get their money back after their planned Titanic expedition with OceanGate was postponed several times in 2018. There was no response to this lawsuit in the online file. According to OceanGate's CEO, some expeditions were delayed because OceanGate was forced to rebuild the hull of the Titan due to cyclic fatigue. This prevented the vessel from diving deep enough to reach the Titanic wreck. In January 2018, OceanGate's technical team was about to hand over Titan to the new crew responsible for the safety of future passengers. However, both internal and external experts began sounding the alarm at that time, repeatedly warning OceanGate of possible catastrophic problems with their Titan mission. The experts pointed out potential dangers and urged the company to undergo a certification process. According to court documents, David Lockridge, Director of Maritime Operations at OceanGate, began working on a report around that time. He eventually presented a scathing document highlighting the need for more extensive testing of the ship and warning of the potential dangers to Titan's passengers as the submarine reached extreme depths. A few weeks before the fatal implosion of the Titan submersible, a father and son decided to give up their spots on board due to concerns about the safety of the vessel. Both Jay Bloom and his son Sean expressed concerns about the submersible and its ability to dive deep into the ocean prior to the planned voyage. Their places were eventually taken by Shahzada and Suleiman Dawood, father and son, who were on board when the ship imploded. After watching a video in which tour organizer Stockton Rush walked through the submersible and explained its features, Sean told a news channel, "I saw a lot of red flags." Sean voiced his doubts to his father, telling him that he believed the ship would not be capable of reaching the depths of the ocean. Jay shared a text message exchange between him and Richard, the CEO of OceanGate Expeditions, in which Richard offered them spots on the ship for the May expedition. In March, Richard traveled to Las Vegas to meet Jay and convince him to purchase the tickets. Jay noted that Richard arrived with an experimental 2-seater aircraft he had built himself. "He has a different risk appetite than I do," said Jay. Both Jay and Sean stated that Richard waved away their questions and concerns regarding the submarine. "He had so much passion for the project that he was blinded by it. He didn't look at the things that I saw and that others saw that were problematic because it didn't fit his narrative," said Jay. After seeing the news, the father-son duo declared that they never plan to try such a thing again. "All I could see when I saw that father and son was myself and my son. That could have been us," Jay said. On Wednesday, June 28, 2023, the wreckage of the missing submarine Titan was brought ashore on the Canadian island of Newfoundland. These wrecks were found at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean near the Titanic. They were then salvaged from the port of St. John on Newfoundland. The U.S. Coast Guard confirmed that rescue workers recovered debris near the wreck of the Titanic. They also reported that presumed human remains have been found in the shattered hull of the Titan submarine. Medical professionals will conduct a formal analysis of the presumed remains. David Mearns, a marine scientist and a friend of some of the passengers aboard the submarine, told a source that the wreckage found is believed to be the landing gear and tailgate of the submarine. However, it has yet to be confirmed whether this information is accurate. Mearns received this information through a WhatsApp group in direct contact with ships on the scene. The sinking of the Titan submersible caused by a terrifying implosion tragically killed all 5 occupants. The impact on the victims' families was enormous. In the aftermath of this tragedy, grief and mourning prevail as authorities from several countries join forces to determine the cause of the implosion and investigate possible crimes. May those who lost their lives in this tragedy rest in peace. The Titan disaster will always remain a memorable moment. Thanks for watching this story. Don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on your notification bell to stay updated on more similar videos. We would love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to share your comments below. Until next time.